Hey, Ortas, I really liked your last movie, man. I really think you're coming into your own here. I mean, that was a really first-rate response. I'm really surprised and quite disappointed by most of the responses you've got to your videos on this series because, I mean, it's clear nobody really gets the problem here, right? I mean, you can't offer a solution to this problem if you don't really feel the problem or if you don't really understand what the problem is. I mean, for example, I think Tool Time's response was completely over facile here, right? I mean, it's like saying problem of induction, right? There's no problem of induction. All you have to do is choose the hypothesis which corresponds closest to reality. I mean, what's the problem, right? I mean, that misses the point. Okay, there is a real problem of induction. Okay, there's a real problem there. Okay, you may not understand the problem, you may not feel the problem, but there is a problem there. Similarly, okay, there is a real problem here with how rational oughts come from just brute izzes, right? Okay, there's a problem here, guys. Okay, so you can't offer a solution to this unless you really understand what the problem is. And why do so many people not understand what the problem is? I think, actually, Veritas, I think some of the problem is nobody really talks about this problem as much. I mean, people talk a lot about the problem of induction, but nobody talks about this. And people commit this fallacy all the time. Okay, let me give you a quick flash here of how this fallacy was committed to very evil effects in California lately.
Acceptance of gay marriage is now mandatory.
That changes a lot of things. People sued over personal beliefs. Churches could lose their tax exemption. Gay marriage taught in public schools.
We don't have to accept this.
So, Huerta, since you understand this problem of reasoning from is to oughts, you wouldn't leave yourself open to these sorts of fallacies, right? It's like you can't reason, okay, gay marriage will be taught in public schools, therefore gays shouldn't marry, right? Or, classic example of reasoning from what is the case to what ought to be the case, fallacy, okay? Or reasoning from, it's like, only males and females can get married to only males and females should get married, okay? That's another classic example, okay? So if you don't recognize the problem, okay, of reasoning from izzes to oughts, you leave yourself open to all of these fallacies. You leave yourself open to arguments saying, well, only men and women can have babies, and it's more rational for survival that we encourage lots of babies to be happening. Otherwise, we'll die out. Therefore, we should prohibit gay marriage. You can't do this. They're saying it's closer to reality somehow that heterosexual marriage is closer to reality. You leave yourself open to all this kind of bogus reasoning, right? And if you don't recognize this problem, this is a genuine problem. Okay, so but the problem then is, okay, if you can't do this, if you can't reason from what is the case to what ought to be the case, then where the hell do these oughts come from, right? Okay, that's a question that really needs to be answered. And nobody gave you that answer because nobody really feels the force of that problem. Okay, but I do feel the force of this problem, and I'd like to give you an answer, right? I don't expect a lot of other people to understand this because you really do need the background knowledge, but I think you will be able to understand this one. Okay, back to your break example, right? That's always being used here, right? So the designer has an intention of what this break is supposed to do, and that sets the standard for what the break should be doing and should not be doing, right? Once you have that intention in place, once you have that design of that break in place, you can very clearly say, okay, this conglomerate of metal and asbestos is a good break, or it's a bad break, or it's conforming to the definition of a good break, or it's not conforming to the definition of a good break, right? You can reason about this break. You can do even rational reasoning about this break, right? You can say, well, it's not stopping the car, therefore it's not a good break. All this requires the fact that there is an intender there and there is a designer there. Period. Okay? These sorts of oughts do not come apart from minds and intentionality and designers. They just don't. Okay? So it's not, on the face of things, it's not irrational to say, well, we have these rational oughts, therefore there has to be a designer for it. Okay, it's not an obviously dumb thing to say, guys. Okay, same thing that Descartes answer to the problem of induction. God wouldn't, at least that's not an obviously dumb thing to say. Okay, Descartes was not obviously dumb. He was a very smart person. It's not an obviously dumb thing to say. Okay, but okay, so if you don't want to believe in a God, you have to come up with some sort of answer to this. Okay, otherwise, you just are really not seeing the force of the problem here. Okay, so here's my answer to this. Okay, so here's how one atheist answers this. Okay, yes, brakes are designed, and therefore, because of that, okay, if you can see that human beings can do this, okay, God wasn't the one who designed what a brake was supposed to be. It was a human being who designed what a brake was supposed to be. We are able to create these sorts of oughts about the brakes. Okay, my claim is we are also able to create these kinds of sort of rational oughts. Okay, because we are the ones who invented language. Right, language did not exist before human beings came, and we are the ones who invented it in the course of our evolution and in the course of our social interchange with each other. And we are the designers of this, and we are the ones in a corporate sense who put the intentionality there. Now it's not an individual intentionality. It's sort of a group intentionality, right? I can't make up the reason. I can't make up a meaning for a word and expect everybody else to just hop on it. The same way I can't forge a check and expect everybody else to cash it, or print money and expect it. But nevertheless, money is invented by us as a corporate whole, intersubjective whole. Same thing with these rational oughts. These rational oughts were invented along with language, and we give them their force by our intentions, by our design, by the way we do things. Okay, so the thing is, yes, very much. You need a designer. You need a telos there. You need somebody providing this telos. You need somebody providing this design and intention there. You need minds to do this. But the answer to your question, how do naturalists, how do atheists do this, is to say, well, we are minds. We have intentions. We are designers. Okay, we are the ones who are underwriting this sort of rational oughts here, and it seems to me like that would be a perfectly good answer to your question. So, yeah. At any rate, keep up the good work, man. That was a very, very, very awesome video, and I hope I hope people get the point of this argument.